Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Money Stop. Happy Monday night. We are live here from Gateway Worldwide Technology Raceway behind us. Got a great show lined up for everybody tonight. We are very, very excited. Should be some great discussions. Give a quick second for everybody to pop in. And while we're waiting, I will once again turn it over to my co-host as usual, Mr. Lehner.
Hello, everybody. Nice to be back.
Yes, sir. Um, so we have a lot to talk about tonight. As per usual, we have a lot to talk about on every episode. But I mean, it's been a while since we did an episode. It feels like because we did an episode last Saturday, and damn, and like it just feels like a while because usually like we usually do an episode at different days of the week, but we did an episode right after the D2 race. So just feels weird.
Yeah.
It feels like we haven't done an episode in a while. Um, but a lot has happened since we kind of were doing the last episode. Um, so we'll dive into a lot of things tonight, and hopefully you'll be able to stick around and listen. And it should be a good episode. Alrighty. So Chicagoland. Chicagoland took place this past weekend for the Cup drivers. The first of two races this past weekend. D2 was at Gateway, and that's where the Cup Series is headed this weekend for race 4 of the Chase. But let's talk about Chicagoland for these Cup drivers that took place again this past weekend. So, overall, like, obviously I took part in the race. I feel like everybody that's watching knows that I took part in it because I was like a fucking brick in the field. But I feel like honestly, I liked the racing. I wish there was a little more passing, but overall, I feel like I liked the racing. Um, I honestly, I wish we did a different package. I don't know if you could say the same, Laner. I know you didn't race the D2 race, but like I feel like the D2 race at Chicagoland was a lot more racier, and it was a lot more entertaining. Um, just that it allowed things to spread out a bit. With this, we were more so pack racing. Excuse me. We were more so pack racing, so it felt like just very intense the entire time, and it was a lot of maneuvering too. Most drivers, from what I've heard, could not get to the bottom, so it was more of a top lane heavy race, um, and just avoiding crashes. I think, and avoiding mistakes on pit road and avoiding mistakes out on track. I think was a commonality for everybody, but um, I don't know. What was your take, Laner? I think you had a very different race than I did. So
Yeah, I mean it was kind of difficult to make that decision to with the package because I didn't race in the D2 race. And me and IC had talked before the cup race, and with the concerns that were being brought up about the wall tapping, we just felt that it would be better to go to the lower dirty air package so the cars weren't as tight in dirty air. But I would have never imagined that it would have turned into the type of race that it did. I mean, yeah, I mean, the racing, it was what it was. The bottom wasn't really usable at all. If you weren't running the top, you just weren't going to be fast, really. Um, so from that perspective, yeah, I would say the D2 race was a more enjoyable racing product.
yeah,
And next season, I would definitely like to see the other package ran if we do go back to Chicagoland. But yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I basically have the same view as you. I mean, I did spend all of the race like running up front. I think there was maybe one time that I kind of had to go through traffic, but most of the time I was running in the top three. But even up front, I mean, if you weren't running the top, then you just weren't going to be passed. So I don't know. I feel like in this car, I've been really good at running the top, though. That's where I feel the most comfortable at the intermediate. So for my personal racing style, the track really fit into my hands. So I enjoyed it, but I also won the race. So I can see how other people didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, and I want to talk about your win. Congratulations, by the way. Didn't say that before. Um, but congratulations again on your win. I know how hard you guys have been working all year and all season to try and lock down the win. So very happy for you guys that you were able to secure one before the season was over. Secure another one. I want to ask you about the finish though. In particular, like just I know that the finish is a little more controversial, I guess, than we're used to seeing. So, what was the finish like from your, I guess, vantage point? Because those last several laps all went green. I think it was like 10 laps or like 20 or no, it was definitely like closer to 10 laps. But um, what was that like getting up to the front? Because I mean, um, when we went back green, you were in like fifth or sixth. So
I think it was closer to like 3 or 4 laps, wasn't it? Maybe 5. It was a
something like
really
that.
pretty short run.
I'm going through the laps, and
Oh, okay.
we didn't go green until 104 out of 110. So there was a couple laps left at least. But walk me through, I guess, what your vantage point was of the finish and how you won the race.
Well, I mean, first of all, I'm grateful to even be in that position because I think it was me and you that made contact like the run before that. I don't remember, but I was spun out, and I think it was me and you because I remember you had apologized over chat. I know that you didn't mean to do it, but I was kind of out of the main pack, and I at that point I was just hoping for a caution because I was so far back.
Yeah,
And then the caution came out and I think I came down pit road and took 4 tires,
I
if I'm
think that's
remembering
correct.
right.
Yes, I
So
think
I
that's
think
correct.
everybody came down and pitted, and I think I was starting last or close to last. I don't know, but from my vantage point, we're going down the backstretch. The first thing that happens, somehow I got by you and Craigus and land. So I guess I must have restarted in front of you guys at least. But the first thing that happened was Jax and Lego made contact, and Jax kind of spun off of the racing groove, and he came back up the track, nearly spun me out. Somehow I was able to stay straight. And then at that point, I'm like, okay, like I'm probably just going to get third. I see Parker dive low, trying to get below Lego. He washes up the track, puts Lego into the wall, and at that point, I just had clear track. There was nothing ahead of me, and Parker tried to get it straightened back out and come back down the track to try to get to the finish line. But by that point, I had already had so much momentum. It was actually a pretty close finish between me and Parker, but I think he just didn't get going quick enough to be able to get the win. But I'm just glad I wasn't involved in the controversy. I didn't really see anybody talking about the finish being controversial, but I'm just glad I wasn't a part of the controversy this time
Yeah, I mean,
for
it
once.
must feel good that you weren't a part of that conversation for once. Usually you are, so I
Yeah,
mean, something's got to change eventually. Something's
yeah,
got to give.
yeah.
Um,
But yeah, I mean, I don't think Parker didn't mean to fence Lego. I mean, I he was just going for the win, and I know that Parker really wanted this win since it was his home track, and obviously he hasn't won a race this season. So I mean, I'm sure Lego wasn't too happy with him. because I mean he kind of did, it kind of costed Lego the win, but it's not
Yeah.
like Parker was trying to rough him up or anything. But yeah, I mean it was definitely a really crazy finish. There was a lot of stuff that kind of had to happen in order to give me a shot.
Yeah, but also too, like you're coming to the line. I mean, all bets are off. Um, it's
Yeah,
one of
yeah,
those things where yes, like the chase is going on, the points matter, but at the end of the day, like you're also going for the win of the race. Um,
well, yeah,
this race is just as important as any other. So, I mean, there might be critics out there that say, um, that they're disappointed that um, they didn't win the race. But at the end of the day, others put themselves in position to win the race too. So um, I guess it's just one of those things where you were in the right position at the right time, and it worked out in your favor. Um,
yeah, and like I don't think Parker was trying to do it intentionally, but it, if he hypothetically just stays behind Lego and takes the top, I mean, he's just given Lego the win because we've seen all day that you're not really going to make a pass on the top. So, I
right.
mean, it was the last lap, and Parker was he was trying to go for it. I mean, he probably knew that taking the bottom wasn't going to be a super successful move, but it was really his only shot that he had to get by Lego at that point of the racetrack. So I don't fault him for going for it. It's really the only move that he had.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's fair game at this point in the season.
Yeah, and another thing I want to mention too is I know that Lego was very close to winning um, this past weekend too at Chicagoland, and um, he has now taken the points lead. I think that team is probably building momentum at the right time. This ongoing momentum that they have is very good, but I'm also not counting out Land just because there is a 5 point gap, and yes, I am the main reason that he lost that points lead, but 5 points is very obtainable in 3 races, and now with the new rule put in place about non-chase drivers being a factor, I think it will make things a little bit easier to manage. Um, and I think like Lance still has a shot. It's those third and fourth place guys that I'm like a little mixed about still. I still think it's very much a Lego and Land type situation. But I mean, third and fourth place, could be a conversation here maybe by next week.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I think Land should just be happy that Lego didn't win the race because if Lego would have won, you're looking at like minus 15, minus 20.
Yeah,
So, because I think Lego finished third? Yeah, he finished third.
I
So,
believe so. Yeah.
yeah, it might have been more like minus 20, minus 25 if Lego had ended up winning. So, I think all things considered, Land is still in a really good spot, and I know we'll get into it with the points, but -5 is nothing to be worried about. I mean,
Oh, for
that
sure.
you can make that up in one stage. So, as far as I'm concerned, Land and Lego are even. I mean, I know it's -5, but that's as close as it'll get. So, I'm the same way as you. I think me and Craigus, we're the only ones that still have a shot, but we're a little bit further back. It's Land and Lego, and then me and Craigus, we still have a shot, but we're definitely a lot further back. Like, we have a lot more work to do. I think at this point in the season, Land and Lego are the heavy favorites.
Yeah, for sure. We'll dive into the points in just a couple minutes, so stick around for that. For now, like I know that just to kind of wrap up on our Chicagoland discussion, I think that there was a lot of wall tapping, and I don't really know how to combat that because of how um, this this track is cut. Um,
Yeah.
like you couldn't run the bottom the whole time, and eventually, while you're running the top, you're gonna slide up because as you're accelerating, the car slides up. Um, but everybody was hitting the wall out of turn 2. turn four wasn't really an issue for most parts of the race. I think for anybody and everybody, but turn two seemed to be like the worst of the worst. I mean, everybody hit the wall at one point or another during that race. Um, so I wonder if like we come back here in the future, like what is that going to look like? Like, is that still going to be a conversation or a thought? Is like the wall tapping issue? Because I mean, like, yes, I was wall tapping, but for most of my wall tapping, um, was either like making contact with other cars, and it ended up like us getting into the wall, or me getting into the wall, or them getting put into the wall, um, and because it's just it's a very tight kind of sequence of turns that leads you to wall tap. Um, but I mean, what would be the way to, I guess, combat that if you guys decide to come back here?
I don't really know that there's like a for sure answer to combat that. Um, I think we made the change with the dirty air package hoping that it would make things a little bit better, but really like it did not change anything in terms of the wall tapping. I
Yeah.
mean, the cars were still really tight on exit, even with people riding the top. I mean, I kind of just think it's the way Chicagoland's laid out, kind of like you mentioned,
Yeah.
because it does not seem like we've had nearly as many issues with this at the other intermediate tracks. I know Las Vegas isn't nearly that bad, and Homestead wasn't nearly that bad. Chicagoland's just such a wide, like the turns are really wide. It almost reminds me more of like a Talladega. I know it's not as big, but like the turns are just super wide, and um, you know what I mean. So I don't really know if there's like a for sure thing that would fix that. So that's definitely something that we would have to think about in the off season, if we do want to return to the track. Yeah, I think we should return to it. I think the racing was good, and I thought it was a good enough race to come back next season, in my opinion.
You know what, I have to agree because there's two main factors that like led this race to be the way that it was the package and the intensity of it being in the chase. I know like historically too, the past several seasons, there's always been one race at least where there's just been like absolute chaos the entire time. At least one race, if not more, especially in the older cars. But um, that's besides the point. I think that, when it comes to coming back here, I think it should be, I think, a possibility when putting the schedule together for next year or next season. I honestly think that the track deserves another chance, I think, to shine kind of. Um, maybe in like a regular season holder
Yeah,
of like a spot, but I think it deserves another chance to shine. I still think like the politics aside of it and the drama aside of it, like I think it was a really, really great race. I just like it felt intense for me the entire time. And sometimes that's like how I like to feel with some of these races because it makes it exciting. Um, and for some reason, like I got like a vibe of how the older cars raced through this race for some weird,
yeah.
odd reason. So it was kind of like a throwback for me in a way, weird way. It was like a nostalgic type race. Um, but overall, I honestly enjoyed it. I really do think that they should come back here next year. At least the Cup Series. If not Geico, at least the Cup Series. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's worth at least trying it out with the other package next season. And if that doesn't work out, then maybe it's just a track we don't go to again. But
Yeah,
I think it at least deserves one more shot.
yeah. And I mean, like if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and then you move to
Yeah.
another track to replace it. That's how it works. So um, yeah. But anywho, Um, moving on from Chicagoland, wanted to touch a little bit on the D2 race. Was not in that race that took place on Saturday night, but I think you can speak more to it later. But just from like an early look, I mean, I was watching the stream. You guys had more caution laps than green laps. I feel like.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on? Because like is this track even ready for cup drivers? Like I don't know. I don't know. What do you think?
Is it ready for cup drivers? Yes. Is it ready for D2 drivers? No. That's the answer to your question. It will do just fine with the cup drivers. I do not think it was a track issue. I think it was just an experience issue with some of the guys trying to learn the cars. And Gateway is not the best track to go to with a bunch of people that are new to the cars because it's a very, very tight racing surface, very tight corners, very you have to really brake, like you have to know your braking point. So like whenever you add all those together, I think Gateway is a track that's perfect for people that are more experienced with the cars, but maybe not so much with people that are still trying to learn the cars. I don't put too much blame onto the D2 drivers. Like I'm not trying to dog on them because I know that they're all pretty much brand new to the league and brand new to the cars. So I know it'll take some time. I just think that Gateway was a very big challenge to put those drivers into.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on the experience part. Unfortunately, not to dog the Geico drivers, but um, I honestly think that the D2 race was just I don't know. I did not enjoy watching. I honestly skipped through most of the race. I can't even lie.
I
Um,
don't blame you.
yeah, I only watched the green flag laps, but like I was skipping through a lot of the race, and I think that tells you that most of it was spent under caution. So um, I honestly think that the Cup drivers will succeed here. I just worry about like I don't know. This track has a weird look to it. Like the turns look almost like tight. Like they don't look like very wide enough, I guess, to make passes and stuff. So that's all that I'm really concerned about, I guess. But I mean, we'll find out. Only one way to find out. So um, Geico couldn't handle it really with 8 drivers, but maybe Cup will handle it with 6.
Yeah, I don't know how the racing's going to go, like with the intensity of the chase. I mean, I know we say it every week, like intensity, 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 when we're talking about the chase. But I think we're really getting into crunch time now, with only 3 races left. So the intensity will definitely be high, and I think with a short track like this, I mean, gosh, we have had so many short tracks in the chase. It's crazy. But a shorter oval like this, I think it'll definitely lead to some intense moments and maybe some tempers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. I honestly don't really know what we're in for this weekend. I think we're now at the halfway mark, and I feel like I can confidently say that there's no like person that sticks out to me yet that is possibly the championship favorite. Um, you know, we said a couple weeks ago that like the champion might be decided by Martinsville, and now I don't even know if like we can really say
Yeah,
that anymore.
I
I
don't
feel
think
like
so.
it might still be a toss up going into the final race. I mean, there's only one way to find
Yeah.
out. We'll have to wait and see. But I feel like there's a good chance that we are still in this points gap situation when we enter this final stretch because minus 2 cars now allows everybody to be closer together, which means that the points are not going to move much. Um, they're, they may move here and there, but I think when we look at these last 3 races as a whole, I don't think they're going to move much. Um, Before we move on, I just want to shout out uh, what's his name? I just want to shout out Benji. He won the D2 race. this past weekend at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Really, really great performance from that guy. Really happy for him that he picked up Geico win. I believe he's won a couple other races before
3
this.
is
Yeah.
his third of the season.
So yeah, he's got a couple under his belt already. But really great job to him, and I know that he's been trying really hard in Cup too. So he's been doing really, really good in both series. But just wanted to give him a quick shout out too, because I think he deserves the credit. So I don't know if you wanted to touch on anything that I just said before that, but feel free to if you're feeling.
No, I mean, like I think most of the stuff you said we'll get to in the points, but I definitely agree that it's not going to be decided after Martinsville. I think it'll be decided at Vegas. It might even be a thing where we don't even know until the final stage, because I mean, depending on what happens at Gateway, me or Craigus could even kind of get back into the equation. So I definitely think things are really close right now, and we will just have to wait and see. After Gateway, I think we'll have a better idea of like where things shake up, especially in regards to me or Craigus, because I think if me or Craigus don't cut into the lead after Gateway, then it's pretty much over for us. But if one of us kind of cuts into that gap, because I think we're both around minus 30 right now. If one of us can get around minus 20 going into Martinsville, then I think like it's a serious discussion to where one of us could have a shot at it. But even between Lego and Land, I don't see either of them really building a big enough gap to where I feel confident in them winning the title by Martinsville.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's really hard to say, if we'll know after this weekend, because we said that like a couple weeks ago too, and look at
True.
things.
We say that every
look
week.
At things now. Yeah, look at things now. So not much has changed if you really look into the points from like week over week. Not much has changed with the gaps. Besides like the lead change at the top, and I think you and Craigus flipped at one point. So I mean, I don't know, man. It's going to be really, really tight, I think, over these next few weeks. But we will have to see. Only one way to wait and find out.
Yep.
So speaking of points, we're going to dive into the points now. Here are your cup points for the week. So Lego has taken the points lead. He has a 5-point gap back to Land, who's in second. Laner following in tow with Craigus in third and fourth. And Benji and Parker, who are virtually out of the discussion now to win the championship, are down in fifth and sixth. Is there anything that jumps out to you when you're looking at the points? I feel like the first thing that jumps out to me is that obviously, that Lego and Land still have that small gap, but you're only 30 points behind too. And Craigus is only 32 points behind. So, I mean, you guys are, I guess, technically still in the discussion. If you maybe want to look at hindsight, but, this is becoming closer and closer to more of a 3 or 4 car battle if the consistency keeps up.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that jumped out to me was I was minus 57 going into Chicagoland, and now I am minus 30. So I cut what, 20? I'm trying to think. 27 points? I don't know. That's quick math. Around 30 points from the lead. Just in one race. So like that's what's kind of like going through my head whenever I'm looking at this. Like, yes, me and Craigus are about 30 points back, but I nearly cut 30 points out of the lead in one race. Like it is still that close. Yeah. And a lot of things had to happen in order for that to happen. Like Land had a really bad race. Craigus had a pretty bad race as well. But And I know we're also going to have less cars in the field now, but I still think like there is opportunity for people further back to make up points because we still have 3 races left. So I really do think that the chase is still wide open between those top 4. I mean, for me and Craigus, like I think we need to have pretty perfect execution because at Chicagoland, I won stage 1, got second in stage 2, and I won the race. Like that's pretty much a max points day. So like for me and Craigus going forward, I think that we have to be like doing that pretty much every week to have a shot. But it is very possible. Like you can cut a lot of points into the lead in one race if you're very consistent.
Yeah, I mean, just for perspective, you were in 5th in the points last week. You were below
Yeah.
Craigus and Benji, and you jumped both of those spots this week. And even before that, I mean, um, you were still, down there. You were below Craigus. Um, you were in 4th the week before. So, I mean, you've been moving a little around in the points, but I feel like this is probably the closest you've come to being in the conversation. So, I mean, if it's Lego and lands, um, I mean, I feel like it could be yours and Kragis's as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the closest I've been since we started the chase. I was minus 23. And then at one point I was minus 57, and now I'm back to minus 30. So kind of just back where we started. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like for me personally, like my expectations still haven't really changed. I'm not expecting to go win the title, but I mean, our goal every week is just to run as good as we can, and if things fall right and we end up winning the title, then that would be amazing. But that's not really like where my goal is at right now, you know?
Yeah. Um, I also am looking at like the laps led column because um, you led 67 laps, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy number to land on. Um, so you need to at least lead one more lap to get yourself out of that box. But um, like Land and Craigus are really close, compared to the other two that are in the 200 range. Land's led almost 500 laps this season, and that's pretty impressive. For a accomplished veteran, still to be leading 471 laps in a single season, and a ROCAR season, I should say, is really, really impressive. And Craigus, same thing. I mean, the team has 3 wins this year and has led basically 400 laps, which is really, really impressive. So, um, hats off to those guys. I don't know. I guess if I see anything else there, though. But yeah, that's all I got for the points. I don't really know if there's anything else.
I mean, I think it's kind of crazy. I've led like the least amount of laps of any chase driver, but somehow I've found myself third in the standings. I don't really know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just found that kind of interesting.
And what were the laps led for this race? Because I feel
I
like
led 22. I actually didn't lead the most. I think Lego put them out.
Because I was gonna say,
Let's see. Lego led the most with 32. Jax had 28. Land had 23, and Laner had 22.
yeah. So you added, a couple more laps onto your total too, but yeah, that is pretty interesting.
It
And
really is
you
because
still picked up the
I don't
win
even
too.
remember
So.
Jax leading that many. Just from I don't know. I don't really remember him leading that many laps, but I guess he
Well,
did.
I think um, there was some point where him and I stayed out at one point during the race, and I fell back, but like he was out front and he led like a handful of laps. So
Okay.
um, that's all I remember from the race. But I know that I know he, like, I can attest to him leading a handful of laps at certain points of the night. But um, regardless, I think that um, I didn't expect him to go out and lead that many laps or virtually any laps because I didn't really know what speed I guess the team would bring. And Jax has like kind of been like here and there this season. It's been kind of hard to, I guess, see where the team's performance is. You know, I honestly, I was looking at the points earlier, and although he's out of it, I believe. Let me see his point count again because he's at 289 out of the drivers that are out of it. Um, so he's right up there, like at the top by like where the elimination line is. So he's been showing up more recently and
Yeah.
still racking up points and laps led, and he still has that win in that column from earlier this season. Um, and I mean, he's showing up at least, but I mean, he's gonna definitely have to sit out and wait until next season. So
Yeah, he's had a pretty good season. I think if he would have just attended more races during the regular season, he would be a contender right now. But
yeah,
I guess we will have to wait until next season.
yeah, yeah, we definitely will have to wait. But all right, enough about that. Let's move on from the points. Um, so we are going to move on to hit the gas or pump the brakes now. Oh, I disconnected. One moment while I get reconnected. Sorry about that. Um, I'm not paying attention to the game. So let me see. All right, there we go. Okay, let me move this. All right, time for hit the gas or pump the brakes. For any of our new listeners or new watchers, um, this segment is just, we have a list of prompts here that we're going to go through, and we're kind of just going to say if we disagree with it or agree with whatever the prompt or the statement is. We have 4 prompts tonight, as usual. So we're going to go through each one and kind of just discuss what we think. So the first one up here is um, Laner or Craigus or both still have a shot at the title. Laner, would you like to go first? You are one of those two, but if you would like to go first, you can tell me what you're thinking.
Yeah, I think I will hit the gas just kind of because of what we talked about with the points. I think it is very possible to make up a large chunk of points. You just have to be very perfect.
Yeah.
But if one of us goes out and sweeps Gateway or I think we would be right back into it. So yeah, I don't think I wouldn't say that it's likely, but is it possible? Like, do we still have a shot? The way it's worded, like, yes, absolutely, I will hit the gas.
All right. I'm also going to hit the gas. I kind of gave it away earlier already, but I honestly think that I think that you guys still have a shot, mainly because the top 2 are very close. But I think that it's only going to intensify over the next few weeks as things remain close, and it might present an opportunity for you or Craigus to kind of slip into that conversation. So, I mean, we'll have to see what happens. But I mean, I definitely think you guys are still a conversation and should be included in kind of the championship conversation a little bit more at this point. Um, all right, moving on to the second prompt. Lego is now the title favorite. I can take this one first. I'm going to pump the brakes. I I don't, like I said earlier, I don't know if there is a clear favorite right now. Just because Lego and Land are running very closely around each other, and they have been this entire chase. Um, I mean, and just their like consistency with running with each other, I think also proves that like there's no clear front runner. Whenever Land gets out front, Lego can take it to him, or if Lego gets out front, Lego Land can get past him. I forget who said it on the broadcast this past weekend, but there's a lot of L's in this league, L names. So mixing them up is easier than you guys might think. Um, but no, just in all seriousness, I do think that kind of the title is still wide open right now. Even if, let's say, like Land didn't have any of the troubles that he had this past weekend, and like none of that stuff happened, and he retained the points lead. I honestly don't think it would have grown that much, because again, it was only a 15-point gap. I don't like it's hard to say, but I don't believe it would have grown that much. Just judging off of like how the past several weeks have gone, um, which I think again just backs up my basis point of like it's still wide open right now. So it's hard to say. But Laner, what do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm going to pump the brakes. I don't really know that there is a clear favorite at the moment. Um, and I mean, Land had one bad race, but Land doesn't have very many bad races. So
Yeah,
I don't know that I would count on him having another bad race in the chase. So
he
Lego's going to
shouldn't
be
now.
need to be pretty near perfect over these final 3 weeks to keep up with them. But yeah, like I don't really. Everybody is really close right now, so I think I would pump the brakes. I don't really think anybody's submitted themselves as the clear title favorite at the moment.
Yeah, and you would think at this point, like maybe we would have a favorite, but it's really shocking to me that there is not one yet. But I think that plays into kind of the, I guess, parody or like the all of the new of this season with the car and the tracks that we've gone to and just the racing that we've seen. I think it's played out differently than I think all of us can say like we anticipated it would. Um, I think the preseason was one indicator, but like this actual first season with these new cars has really, really presented something special. So it should be interesting to see how things close out over these next few weeks. But um, moving into the third prompt here, the championship battle is undecided heading into the finale. Um, I am going to. Hmm, I will actually pass it on to Laner because I don't think I'm supposed to go first yet. Yeah, it's you anyway. But I honestly
Uh,
don't know, so I would need more time. But
um, I am going to hit the gas. I do not think that we know who the champion is going into Las Vegas. Kind of said it earlier, but I think this could be the type of thing where we don't even know until the race is over. I
hmm,
mean, with how close it is right now, I mean, I know we still got 2 weeks until Las Vegas, but I don't know. I mean, things are really close right now, and I could definitely see this one coming down to the wire.
yeah, I agree. Um, I don't know if it will be decided like during the race or if it will come down to like who wins the race. Like there could be a situation where the points are tied going into the last race. Um, we don't know how the points will play out, but I would assume that is certainly a possibility. Um, so I mean, if that happens, that's also a option. that we may not even find out, who wins until the checkered flag waves, and who wins the race. Um, but in terms of the battle itself, I think that it's very much undecided. I think that with the other two and third and fourth, I think that still presents an opportunity for them to kind of stick their foot in the door, before it shuts. And I honestly don't know. I think we can both confidently say that we don't know right now. And we've sat up here the last several weeks, making all of our picks and making all of our assumptions, but we've practically been wrong about almost everything. So um, I feel like it's just one big question mark. So it very well may
Yeah.
come down to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. We kind of didn't talk about it earlier, but I mean, I know Land was very heated after the race with the way that Lego raced him, and I'm not trying to stir up drama or anything here, but I that is something to keep an eye on in these final three races as well, because we look at the points battle between Lego and Land did say in his post race interview that he was going to race Lego the same way going forward. Now I don't know what that means. I don't know what that looks like. I have no idea, but
Yeah.
there could be um, there could be some interesting racing between those two these final 3 weeks because I mean Land feels like he was raced dirty by Lego. I'm not going to be one to assume or pick sides on that because I didn't see any of it. So I really don't have a dog in that fight. But I just think that it'll be a very interesting battle between those two. Like I think the racing will get very intense, not only in the top four, but especially between Lego and Land, because I mean I don't think Land is going to race Lego the same way that he has been this season. And I could say that with certainty. Like I think Land will race Lego differently. I don't think he's going to straight up dump him or anything, but I think he's going to race him a lot harder.
Racing harder is one thing, but wrecking is another thing.
Yeah, I don't think Land's going to go out there and wreck him. Like
well,
I don't think he would do that.
I don't think so either. But like also too, this chase is unpredictable. Anybody could pull anything. Um, but what I would not want to see is either of them put one another in a jeopardizing, I guess, like situation, or put themselves in a jeopardizing situation. That's what I meant to say. I think they could care less if either or was in a jeopardizing situation. But I don't think they would want to compromise, I guess, their own race by doing something to somebody else. So, like, yes, like racing differently is fine, but like be smart about it. Don't be dumb, because you're just opening the door for third and fourth to come in and have more of a discussion in all of this too. So if you really want to keep it a 2-horse race, be smart about it. That's all I will say, because how they perform out on the track and how they race each other, that's up to them ultimately. But you're not going to win a championship wrecking each other, or you know ruining somebody else's day or ruining your own day by taking somebody else out. It is not going to make anybody else better. So
Yeah, I agree, and I think Lego and Land are both smart enough to understand that. At least in my opinion. So
well,
I don't think.
sometimes yes, but when we're
Well, I
out
guess
on
it's true when you're out on the track.
when we're out on track, it's a different story.
Yeah,
Everybody's
very true.
everybody's a very different person. And they can come at me all they want in the chat. I really couldn't give a shit. But you are a very different person out on track, Laner. So am I. We are entirely different people. It's just the intensity of everything, the seriousness of everything. So I think, yeah, it will play a factor, and it does have a part in this conversation too. Kind of the maturity and the overall, I guess, the way that you carry yourself throughout the race.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. I mean, if you're pissed off with somebody, like I think what do they always say? Like race car drivers have very long memories. They remember things. And
Yeah.
I think like you say that about real life racing, but I think the same thing is true even in virtual racing.
Oh, for sure.
Um you remember things, and if somebody does something to you, it's going to take a while for you to get over it, and you're going to race that person differently until eventually maybe you guys, I don't know, get over it. But yeah, I completely agree. I just think it'll be very interesting to watch how that plays out. And I don't know, because the points are really, really close right now. And that could be a very interesting storyline coming to the end of the season.
Yeah. I have no more notes for that. So I guess with that we can move on to our last prompt here, um, with which is will removing non-chase drivers affect the championship battle? Um, I am going to hit the gas. I honestly like, even if these last several weeks were ran without non-chase drivers, the points are still going to move. It's just more of a conversation now of like how much they're going to move, um, because there are not being points awarded to two more drivers. Um, so, it's like that's more of a conversation. I definitely think it will, because I still look at Parker and Benji, who are both very fast. I mean, Parker almost won the race on Saturday. He came to mere inches, basically, of the line of winning his first race. But also, like, Benji has been very fast the last several weeks. Um, Benji's won races this season, and there is still opportunity for them to go out there and still perform. Um, I honestly would not be surprised, if we get down to the wire and maybe see one of these guys win another race or win a race, and that could even affect the championship battle. Um, the tricky part with this is like there's four cars essentially like wrapped under a blanket now. Um, so it's like for them, it's like over half of the chase drivers are going to be occupying the points positions for getting points during stages, or they have a higher percentage of winning the race, by far compared to Parker and Benji, just by number sake. But I mean, I honestly think like anything can still affect the championship battle. So yes, removing the non-chase drivers is going to affect the championship battle, but like even those drivers that are in the chase and not necessarily like in the conversation anymore are still going to affect it as well. So like those drivers that are more closely up at the top like need to be aware of that as well, because trust me, they're not even thinking about a championship anymore. They just want to go out and win races now. That's all they're going out for, and to have fun and enjoy the rest of their season. And I guess end the season on a good note. But that that's not going to stop them, from going out and trying to win. So um, that championship battle up at the top is not going to stop them. So that's where my gut stands at with that. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And I would also hit the gas. Just because I think obviously with six cars compared to eight, it makes a big difference in points.
Yeah.
Because if you're winning a race and then that the person that finishes sixth, I mean, you're not gaining as many points over that person as if they finished eighth. So it definitely will make a difference. I don't know how much of a difference, but I think it will definitely make a difference, for sure. And I agree with what you said about Benji and Parker. I don't think that they're going to lay over these past few weeks. And I mean, honestly, like, I know it sounds crazy, but even they aren't technically out of it. I mean, if you think about it, I cut nearly 30 points out of the lead at Chicagoland. If one of them goes out and does really good at Gateway, then they could get right back into the conversation too. I mean, I think for if they wanted to have a chance at all, like they would need to go sweep Gateway, like win both stages in the race. But I mean, there's still opportunity for all six drivers, in my opinion. I wouldn't say it's very likely, but like it has been proven that you can cut big chunks of points out in this format. So um, I think everybody still has a lot to race for.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The only thing is they are now long shots to win the
Yes,
championship,
for
like
sure.
very long shots. They have a lot of work to do if they want to put themselves even in the conversation, and they would have to do that like this weekend by like
Oh yeah.
winning the race. Because if they don't do it this weekend, they're out of it, like for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
There's no way they're in it anymore. And I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say they're out entirely because to me they've been fast, but they haven't been Lego or Land fast. Um, they will be behind them in a race. Lego or Land will pass them at one point during the race, and that happened this weekend too. So technically, yes, they are not out of it just yet. But to me, they're out of it. They are no longer a factor or a conversation for me in terms of the championship. What's it called? The championship conversation. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I
and
mean,
Lego just put in the chat that Benji swept the stages at Gateway and won by 15 seconds. Yes, that is very nice and all, but that is also a D2 race. And well, number one, that's a D2 race. But number two, there's going to be a completely different field for the Cup race. Um, you're going to have many different factors as well. I don't know if it's going to be a caution race or anything. Um, so, you know, you still have to think about all of those factors that are not included, um, you know, but um, yeah. I missed a bunch of messages, so I'm catching up on them. Um, anything else you want to mention with this prompt, or do you want to move on?
no, I mean, I don't know. The whole thing is just it. I feel like removing the chase drivers was like the least controversial thing to do. Like, just because in the future, like, if a chase driver has a bad day, then they can't be like, oh, like a non-chase driver ruined my day. At
Yeah,
that point, it's like, okay. But like to me, like looking at this from a logistical point of view, what's the difference in having a non-chase driver or having Benji and Parker out there?
yeah,
Like Benji and Parker, like yes, they're in the chase, but they're not in the chase technically. Like, do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Because like they're not really like competing for the. So like to me, like I get where they're coming from, but at the same time, like I don't really see the difference. So like, would you be less upset if Parker wrecked you, or are you only upset because not like I don't know. I'm not that. That's just what like I don't fully understand it. But just so people don't lose their minds over the past 3 weeks, we just made the decision because at this point, if someone gets screwed over during a race, um, I I don't know. I guess it just makes people feel better if they get screwed over by a chase driver. Which I mean, to me personally, if I get screwed over in a race, I'm not going to care who screws me over. I'm going to be pissed regardless. So I don't know. That's just the way I feel, at least. Like, I would not care if you're a chase driver or not a chase driver. If you wrecked me during a race, I would be pissed no matter what. I'm not going to care. So, that's my perspective on it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I share a similar perspective. The only thing I wish though is that we made a rule and it stayed permanent. I feel like the one thing I will criticize the league about is that the rules are changed too often, and I don't enjoy that. That's not really like the rules should stay consistent. Like the rule book is there as a foundation, um, for the league, but for the league drivers to follow. And by constantly changing them, it's the drivers that have to keep in mind of what the new rules are and how do we adjust to them and yada yada yada. And I'm not coming down on you or Icy, but just from a general perspective, because this has been something that has changed over like several seasons. We've had rule changes and things like that. Like a few here and there are okay, but like if non-chase drivers, if that rule was made now, like the rule should have stayed like that from the beginning of the chase, because it takes like it creates a whole new conversation now, um, of like how the races will play out. And I honestly don't know what we're kind of in for this weekend either. Like how the race will play out or what the racing is going to look like. Um, I thought personally, like adding the two non-chase drivers kind of added a little more of an incentive to go out there and win a race, just because you have somebody that's out there literally competing for nothing versus everything. So, like I agree with you on the premise of like, it doesn't really make a difference from like a non-chase driver to a chase driver because you still have chase drivers that are now out of contention. Um, but like this rule should have been made one way or another and stayed as is. Like, we're in the middle of a chase format right now where drivers are earning points on a weekly basis, where the points are the most important thing that matters. Um, and now I look like an idiot because I just raced the last three of them, and either stages that I won, points that I accumulated, or near wins that I had, none of it means anything now. So, yeah, it's good and all, but um, you know, if I wasn't a factor in the first place, I feel like those points, those stage wins, that chance at a win could have easily just gone to a chase driver. So it's much like um, the championship race, how we only allow the four cars to drive. I don't really enjoy that just because that's like that to me is not a real race. Like I don't, you can't convince me otherwise. That to me is not a real race. Um, like it's cool and all that like the way that we had the format with the win and you're in format, like whoever finished first won the championship or whatever like that, but like that's not a real race in my opinion. You're limiting the field to a very small portion of drivers, um, and it's just I don't know, it should be treated like every other race, in that format, but this format it's a different conversation. um, I know I'm like on a tangent, but I just wanted to kind of throw my 2 cents in since I included in that kind of rule exclusion now. But um, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to mention based
No,
off of
I
what I
mean,
said.
I agree. Like I do. I feel bad for the non-chase drivers that want to race.
I mean, I
Definitely
don't I
is.
don't I don't care. I really don't anymore.
No, yeah, yeah,
Like
I know, but like
I
I
do
know
this
that
I do
you
this
and
on like a
Jackson,
voluntary
uh,
basis.
yeah, yeah. But like I mean it is a sucky situation though. Just because like I know everybody enjoys racing in the cup races. Um, and I don't know. I mean like I wasn't really in the back at Chicagoland, so like I'm not like trying to. I'm not like that's why I'm not saying too much about it because I don't know how it was. Like I really don't. So I don't want to like say anything super off base because I didn't experience what Landon Craigus or any of the other guys did. So my perspective on this is a lot different than theirs.
Yes.
So and I'm respectful of that because we can have different opinions. That's totally fine. I'm not going to say they're totally wrong and they might say I'm totally wrong. Like whatever. Everyone can have different opinions. Um, but yeah, I think it definitely sucks, but like you said, we do need to be more consistent with the rules, and I definitely do agree with that. Um, this season has just kind of a roller coaster, and we wanted to try out letting the non-chase drivers race. Just because we know that people like racing. So I guess it just didn't end up working too well. So at this point, we're just going to stick with this for the rest of the season, and we will reassess things and just see what is the best thing for next season. But next season, we'll also have more cars in the field. So the playoff field size might be increased to, instead of 6 drivers, it might be 8, or who knows. But you get the point. So there's a lot of things that'll have to be talked about in the off season, and hopefully it's a lot more organized than it was this season.
Yeah, I mean, it was organized. I'm not saying it wasn't organized. But my only thing is like, now you guys know for next season, whether to allow chase drive or non-chase drivers to race or not. And like going back on that decision and reversing it, or like it makes things really inconsistent. So, I mean, I think that the rule book like is there as like a foundation, and changes can be made, but like if people are like remembering and stuff and like keeping in mind of the rules and they're changing, I think it creates more of a headache than it does with solving problems. Because let's be real, the rules have changed a lot the last couple of years, with a lot of different areas of the rule book. And hopefully like we're at a point now where it won't change much. Maybe we're just adding on more than taking out, but like, things like that just to keep in consideration. For time's sake, though, we can move on. Thank you guys for listening in to the Hit the Gas or Pump the Brakes segment. We're going to move into our preview now of this weekend's races. So up first, we have the Cup Series, which will be taking place this Friday, question mark.
To be determined.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know yet. We have a few chase drivers that might not have availability this weekend, so we should know around Tuesday. We might end up having to do a bye week. Hopefully not, but we're keeping all options on the table. If we do have a cup race, it'll probably be on Saturday, though. That's what it's looking like at the moment.
All right. Well, is it going to be a doubleheader then with Geico?
No, Geico would probably be on Friday.
Okay. Well, Geico had their gateway race this past Saturday, and their race was 110 laps, so we can expect more for the Cup race. So just keep that in mind when you guys are prepping for this weekend's race in the Cup Series. I would expect pretty similar times as well in terms of like practice and qualifying in the race to the Geico race, or just what we've been seeing the past few weeks with how the times have shaken out. So just keep that in mind for this weekend's D2 race as well. I believe is going to be Martinsville, question mark?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys will be going short track racing this weekend. So keep that in mind as well. The race information should be out pretty shortly, within the next day or two, hopefully. So be sure to check out all of the laps and when the times and stuff, so you can make yourself readily available and readily aware. As far as the Cup Series goes, though, I guess we can break this down by series for now. What do we expect to see this weekend at Gateway? I think right off the bat, I think the first thing that comes to mind is chaos. I love the word chaos. I also love the word strategy, but I'm not going to use strategy tonight because I love the word chaos for this situation. Geico was a mess. And I don't really know how the Cup cars are going to perform just yet. It's still very early. We won't know till the drop of the green flag. But I feel like, even with 6 car fields, races can still be messy. So, with the combination of this track, this car, and um, the 6 drivers themselves, I honestly think it's going to be chaos. Um, I think we will still see the typical front runners, but I'm definitely expecting a lot of chaos.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it'll just with the way that the D2 race was, I think it'll be very similar in terms of the racing at least. But I don't know. I mean, with only 6 cars, um, I don't know. I mean, it could be a more straightforward race than the D2 race. So, I mean, I think there will be like a lot of beating and banging, but I don't know if it'll be absolute chaos. Like I could see it getting more spread out than the D2 race. Um, I think it'll be very track position heavy because it seemed like whoever got track position in the D2 race was kind of able to um, get away from the field a little bit. But it'll be very different with a different group of drivers and everything like that. So I really don't know what to expect. But just with all the intensity that we've seen so far in the chase, I would expect nothing less. So I could see it being pretty chaotic, honestly. With this tight of a racetrack, I think we could be in for a lot of cautions.
Do we think SSR is going to be performative this weekend, or is GFM going to be stronger, or Land's team going to be stronger? I mean, what do you think? Is there going to be like a team to beat this weekend?
Uh, I mean, Lego's been really strong on these shorter ovals. I think he has won every single short track race except for Phoenix. So I mean, it would be kind of silly to say that Lego's not the favorite, just if we're going off of the whole season. I mean,
Yeah.
he's won basically every short oval at this point. So I think I would pick Lego to win at the moment. And I know we're about to do our race winner picks, but I think Lego's going to be very strong. I mean, Land did win Phoenix though, and this is I would say probably the closest track that we have to Phoenix, just in terms of the way that the track is laid out,
Hmm.
the way the turns are. I think Gateway is the closest track that you have to Phoenix on the schedule. So I think Land will be really fast. I think Lego will be really fast. Um, and I don't really know what to expect from me and Craigus. I mean, I don't know. Craigus was also really fast at Phoenix, so and I was pretty decent at Phoenix too. So I really think like all the top four should be pretty competitive. And Benji and Parker, I mean Benji won Milwaukee, so I could make a case for all 6 of them. Honestly, I think it'll be really exciting.
Yeah. I think like you said that last sentence, you could make a case for everybody. And this track, I really don't know, um, what we're gonna see. I think based off of the D2 race, like how crazy it was, and then Benji getting out to as far of a lead that he got to and winning the race, I think that really opens the door for anybody to take advantage of an opportunity, and really opens the door for anything to happen. Um, I I will. I'll give you a hint as to my race winner pick, but I think that those non kind of competitors in the chase now, are going to be a factor, this weekend as well. I think they're going to build off of the kind of the performance that they had this past weekend, and really show out at Gateway. Benji is going to be strong, and I know Parker is going to really, really want to get kind of revenge, quote unquote, for maybe a missed opportunity last weekend. So I definitely think that we are in for a treat. But I think that kind of it will be a mixed bag, and everybody has a chance this weekend. So
Well, something that I don't know that we really discussed, but something that like Benji and Parker can do that maybe the top 4 don't have the luxury of is doing alternate strategies. Like if
yeah.
we're if we have a late caution and it's at a track that maybe has heavy tire wear, Benji and Parker could come down pit road and put 2 tires on it and just hope that, they win the race. Whereas the top 4 might not want to be that risky. Or maybe they can run it longer on fuel. And if they run out of fuel, like, does it really matter? Because, like, what do they got to lose? They're just going for race wins. So they can afford to kind of take a little bit more risk, I would say. So I think that Benji and Parker should use that to their advantage. Maybe stretch it a little longer on fuel, or maybe do some different tire strategies or things like that.
There's also pitting earlier too, than like the lead group. If they wanted to come in like maybe 5-10 laps earlier than the leaders, that's also an opportunity to get out there, lead some laps, and maybe wait for an opportunity to happen. I think that's also a factor too in that conversation. But what else? So the D2 race is going to be at Martinsville. What do you think? I honestly don't really know, to be quite honest. Just judging off of what we saw this last weekend, I don't know if you've ever seen that GIF, but the one video of like all of the Cup cars going into turn 1 at the Daytona road course. First year that they were going to race there. I think it was sometime during COVID, but that's kind of how I picture Martinsville taking place for this field. Just because I don't know if they know where the brake pedal is, some of them. So it will be interesting to watch them kind of navigate still as we get down to the wire the last few weeks. But Martinsville, I think, is always an interesting track for the Geico series. And it's probably going to be the same way for the Cup series, just because the ROCAR Cup cars have really never taken on Martinsville before. It's always been Martinstown, or we've like attempted to do Martinsville, it just never worked out. But this will be an interesting test for a short track that like has kind of never really been run before in a full race format. So I'm interested to see kind of for both series, but for D2 to kind of run there first and kind of see how it might turn out for them. Any initial thoughts on the D2 race taking place at Martinsville, though?
I am really excited for Martinsville. I think it has the opportunity to be one of the best races. Maybe not the D2 race. I think the Cup race will be a spectacle because I don't know. Like I just really have high hopes for that track. I think it should really put on a great race. But maybe my expectations are way off bounds. For the D2 race, oh my gosh, it is going to be wild. If you aren't doing anything the day that D2 race is going on, make sure to tune into the YouTube channel because that is going to be crazy. Oh, yeah. Like, oh my gosh, it's going to be wild. There's going to be cars flipping upside down, riding the fence. Holy moly, I cannot even imagine. That's going to be wild. I'm glad that I'm not doing that one. Because Aiden's racing the D2 race, so I'm going to be streaming it. So I'm actually pretty glad that I'm not racing at Martinsville in the D2 series.
I wonder if things will get stretched out.
I don't think so. Not in the D2 race. I think we will have a lot of cautions.
Did you get my reference there?
Yeah, I got it. I got it.
Yeah, I honestly don't know either. I think the Cup series, it may very well, but Geico, it's like, man, forget about it.
Oh man, yeah. Martinsville, it's going to be wild, and the hot dog trophy is on the line. So it's actually me this year because I won last season. So if anybody wants to win the Laner hot dog trophy, you better go out and try to win the race.
The Laner,
yeah, the Laner glizzy.
Oh
Oh,
man.
that is one of the best traditions. I swear. That's like one of my favorite trophies.
Oh yeah. That one's
I have
definitely
the
one of mine too.
I have the Craigus glizzy over at my at the SSR HQ. So and Craigus has the CSP glizzy, and I've heard some interesting stories about that one.
Yeah, I've heard.
I'll just say that.
Listen, I've heard that that trophy has been twisted and titillated. So I I don't know what he's been doing to that trophy, but I know it's nothing good. Um,
Oh man.
all right. Well, let's get to our the race and race winner picks. Because we are getting to that point in the night where we are really out there now.
Oh man.
Jeez. I don't know why I can't pull up this darn image of what in the world? Why is it not showing up? Yeah, it's not showing up for some odd reason. Um, okay, anyways, we'll do our rate the race though. And for Chicagoland, do you want to rate Cup only, or do you want to rate both?
I don't think we should rate the. I mean, you know what? We have a lot of D2 people that listen, so we'll just rate both.
Okay, all right. I think for Chicagoland, gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 64.3%. I honestly think that it's one of the better races that we've had in terms of the racing. I think it was pretty entertaining. There were some things that just obviously kept the race down, but I enjoyed it for the racing part of it. The finish was pretty entertaining as well. Those final few laps were pretty entertaining, and down to the checkered flag. As for the D2 race, again, did not participate, so strictly a spectator view. That shit's getting like a 30 for me. I did not enjoy it to be honest. On like a grading scale, I guess of like an A to an F, it would probably get like a D minus. But yeah, um, yeah. So those are my ratings. That's all I got.
Okay. I'll give Chicagoland. What did you give it? Like a 67?
I
68?
gave it a 64.3%.
64. Okay, I'll give it a 65.
You
I
always want to
didn't.
one up me. This shit is not fair.
Yeah. We need to do like a rate the race pool. That would actually be kind of fun. We should do that next season. Kind of like Jeff Gluck. Put out a poll in the server and then people vote on it and we kind of have to guess. I think that
Yeah.
would be fun. Anyways, that's something for another day. But anyways, I'll give it a 65. I didn't really like how the top was the only usable line, and it was really kind of frustrating to like get behind people on the top and literally just be stuck there. It was just kind of like a freight train on the top, and there was no way to get past people. So it was a little bit frustrating from a driving standpoint, because even if you were faster than somebody, there was nothing to do unless you just wanted to dump somebody. So it definitely did not play into the hands of clean driving, in my opinion. So I'll give it a 65. For the Gateway D2 race, oh gosh, I'll go 35, 35%. We'll give it a 35.
Hmm. All right.
I did not have a lot of fun.
Doesn't sound like it. All right. So our race winner picks. I believe you went first last week, so I'll go first this week. I'm gonna go with Parker. I think Parker came close to his first win this last weekend, and I think it's gonna really, really eat at him this week that he did not win the race. And I honestly think that there was a lot of other opportunities for the team to win this year. And you know, came up just short, but like he's still got a couple more opportunities, couple more weeks. So I'm gonna go with Parker, um, and I'm going to stick with that pick. So, but I'm also watching Benji. I like Benji too.
I will go. Oh man, it's hard because, like I said, I could literally make a case for every driver in the field. Um, I think I'm gonna go with Craigus because I feel like there's been a lot of talk about land and Lego, and I feel like everybody else is just kind of going under the radar.
Yeah.
Um, so Craigus has won at Gateway before in ROCAR. I know it's completely different car, completely different, but he's been really solid this season. And I think if he can get back to that early season form, he can definitely go out and win Gateway. And he was also very, very fast at Phoenix. So I'll pick Craigus to win Gateway.
Um, my OBS actually disconnected for a quick second, so I don't know how much of that everybody heard. Okay, so I think they missed your pick, Laner.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you guys catch it? I don't know. I can't really tell. Um, okay,
Okay,
all
it
right.
seems like they heard.
Okay, I just want to make sure. For some reason, I got a notification on my laptop that OBS was like reconnecting for some reason. So maybe the Wi-Fi went out for a quick second. Anywho, though, not important anymore. We're back online. But all right, with that out of the way, I think that's it. Um, so that is going to do it from us here at Gateway. You guys are more than welcome to practice. I mean, there's a wide open track, a couple people out on track right now, but still a wide open track while we're here for the next minute or two. So definitely make sure that you guys get some practice in, and good luck to everybody this weekend as round 4 of the chase kicks off here from Gateway. And the Geico series will be taking the green flag over at Martinsville this weekend. So be sure to tune in for both of those races. And we will talk to you on the other side of them. I know that we are, Laner and I talked about this before we came on the air. We are looking at having some guests on the next few weeks. We just wanted to keep tonight strictly to us. So, hopefully over the next few weeks, we'll start reaching out to people to try and get some people on for the last few episodes. And also, too, we are kind of looking at maybe restructuring how we do the podcast for next season and future seasons. So, as we come down to kind of these last few episodes, we may try some things. We may experiment a little bit. But, look for some major changes next season when we kick off at Talladega. So for now, we will talk to you guys next week, and have a great week and a great set of races this weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.
See you guys.